All right, guys. I think we're live. We are live now for the 16th consecutive Corvette Weekly with the Vette Syndicate group here. Are you guys able to hear me? We were testing some new software out, and I just want to make sure we're all good here. So let me know in the chat if you are able to hear what I'm saying. I'm going to keep talking, though, as if you can. I see a lot of the same names popping up over here, guys. I do have Steve. I have Jason joining me. The whole Vette Syndicate crowd is here. We're here to talk about Corvettes. We're here to talk about the passion that we all have for Corvettes. And we have some really good information today, guys, because as you know, the Z06 prices come out. And because of that, we're getting all kinds of Z06 information. Z06 kind of like excitement because you can finally start to order this thing come the end of this week. But we're going to talk a little bit about that too, because even though you can put the order in, the order actually doesn't get put in. We'll explain in a second. But let's take a look at the comment section, guys. Like I said, it's a lot of the same guys. You guys are tuning in every week, and I love it. We actually see Mike Matarazzo on here, guys. He used to be my salesman at Click Lewis. That's kind of going to be a topic we're going to talk about in the future. But let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Vette Father is on here, guys. Vette Father is his name is Al. Steve over here, Vette Father, is going to want to talk to you here soon. So I'm going to hook you two up in a second. But let's see. Dr. Corvette in the house, guys. I saw Ralph Cruz on here a little bit earlier. Same names as always. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, guys, like I said, this is the 16th week in a row that we have been doing Corvette Weekly. And I think the 8th or 9th, maybe 10th. Yeah, probably the 10th with the whole Corvette or Vette Syndicate group, which is awesome, guys. We're really building a solid community here, and I absolutely love what we're doing. So, yeah, Shane bought a shirt, he says.
Yeah.
General Lee's on. What's up, man?
General Lee. General Lee.
So, actually, Mike, the guy who makes these, brought this to a car show that I recently had. That's actually not the same one. Guys, so right off the bat, we have a super chat from Steve. He says, yay for the order guide. So, I'm going to put it in the chat here. I appreciate 100%. I appreciate the super chats, guys, but I'm going to put it in the chat here. What we're going to do with the super chats moving forward, if you guys are okay with it, is actually to send me a Venmo instead, because YouTube, I have found, takes over 50% of any money you decide you want to donate to me. YouTube takes over 50% of it. So if you send it via Venmo, I will get 100% of it at that point. And I'm not saying you have to do that by any means, but if you guys feel like you want to support the channel, sending it through Venmo is the best route. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat here, and you guys can just send it that way if you feel like you want to.
Hey, Justin, I want to say something about that really quick. For people that don't know about the super chats, so the big amount that happened about 2 weeks ago, I can tell you firsthand, all that money was invested back into Vette Syndicate and some gifts that are actually going out. So all the stuff you're actually investing in yourself. It's not just Justin. There's stuff that's actually going back into this HPO community, Vette Syndicate community, and you're actually going to win these prizes. So this stuff isn't just pocketed. This is actually put back to benefit you.
100%. All right, so I put it in the chat here, guys. I'm going to pin it to the top just so you have it. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this because I don't want to make it seem like you have to do this by any means. We are here to entertain you guys. We are here to talk about Corvettes with you guys, and that's all there is to it. So if you feel like you want to support the channel, absolutely go ahead, but Venmo is the way to really do it if you want to do it. So yeah, so Future Sean kind of touches on something we were going to talk about here in a second. He says Sioka isn't putting in any orders until they get allocations. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised that any dealership is, because they're going to have a stack of papers on their desk 4 feet high. And there's not going to be anything they're going to be able to do with those orders because GM's not actually accepting them yet. You can take the order as of the 28th of July, but it's not actually being submitted into any kind of system until well after that. GM speculates near the end of August before any orders will officially be taken, which is kind of odd. Have you guys heard about this? I'm curious to see if I'm the only one that has read this yet or not. Mike Monterazzo, like I said, used to work at Click Lewis. He says that that's smart. He would know. I mean, he's obviously used to be a salesman putting in orders, so I don't know. And that's the big one. Phil says kind of my same thoughts. They have no idea how many allocations they're going to get. So they could have 400 people come to your dealership, submit an order on the 28th, and then you get 3 allocations. So this is odd. The way this whole thing's being done is very strange. What's up, Gavin? Thanks for tuning in again, guys. I appreciate all the support. We got a lot of the same names over here. I'm going to try to call them out as I see them pop up, but the comments do come in pretty quickly. I know Jason and Steve typically try to get in there in the chat while I'm doing this kind of thing. And that's awesome because it helps out a lot. And that's, you know, we're all Corvette guys at the end of the day. So, okay. So what we're going to do, guys, I'm going to flip over to the web browser here for a second because I have a bunch of stuff I want you guys to see. Right off the bat, the very first thing, we're going to start right into the information today, guys. It's going to be a quick one. We're going to talk about the Z06 style wing for the non-Z06 C8s. So if you guys out there who have a C8 Corvette or are getting a C8 Corvette and you don't want the Z06, but you want it to kind of look like one, this is the way to do it. So as you can see here, it is Sigala or Sigala. I can't remember. Jason knows how to pronounce it.
Confirmed it with Sigala.
It is Sigala.
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's Sigala. Now that we know how to pronounce it, they are making a Z06 style wing for the base C8. So if you guys want your base C8 to look like a Z06, which I do know one guy that wants that, you can do that. It's pretty cool looking. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit and show you a little bit of a picture. That right there is not a Z06. That is a C8 with a Z07 style wing. What do you guys think of that?
That will be on my
I love it
for sure.
Yeah. So guys, Protected Dad Pranks Steve over here, he's getting a base C8 and he is definitely going to put that wing on it, which is awesome. Guys, Mike Monterazzo has a good idea. He has actually, I'm going to flip back over to my camera here. You can see it behind me, over here, the barrel lid. This is a really nice quality whiskey barrel lid. It's probably about 2 inches thick. And it is laser etched on it with the C8 Corvette flag, Corvette underneath it. And then up at the top, it says HPO and horsepower obsessed underneath it. That's all laser etched on there. Mike Monterazzo got one for me, and I have not been able to get it from him yet. This is actually from the guy who makes it. He came to the car show that I recently had. But if you guys are interested, this might be the next giveaway. This will probably be pretty costly to ship, so we'll see what happens. But let me know if you guys would be interested in having something like that on your wall.
Yeah, Vette Father's right. AG Motorsports actually has a wing as well.
Yes.
Between them, so
yeah, that's right. So AGM is one that I have a little bit more experience with. The quality of their parts is pretty good. So I would immediately kind of go that direction. I don't really have a lot of experience with Sigala stuff. Future Sean's. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
The AG Motorsports is going to run between $1,300 and $1,400 is what they told me.
Is that exposed carbon fiber?
Yeah, I believe it's going to be the carbon flash painted.
Oh, okay.
I think I will double check with them. You know what? You might be right. It might actually be the carbon fiber.
I think it is. AGM stuff is typically carbon fiber.
All carbon fiber, exactly.
Yeah. All right, so Future Sean says, might as well get the good news over with before we start into the Nurburgring stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so guys, we are going to have some information on the Nurburgring, specifically the fact that the Z06 and the ERay are over there right now. But it's not necessarily all good news on that front, so we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But in the meantime, let me know, guys, would you like to have something like this as a giveaway on the channel? Because we do have a big giveaway coming that I keep talking about. and I keep dangling in front of you guys, but I promise you it is coming. So what we're going to talk about here now after the Sigala, I'm always going to say Sigala. I don't think there's any way to stop it. Like I said, they do have that spoiler there. I'm going to flip back over and show you. That is a Z07 style spoiler for the C8 Corvette, and it can be yours. But guys, I wanted to mention one more time real quick because I did get a super chat earlier today from Steve Robertson, and he is a big supporter of the channel, and I wanted to just say thank you again. I don't think that came through quite as well as I wanted it to. Big thanks to Steve, guys. Give him an applause. We'll pretend that we can hear you. There you go. All right, so moving on, guys. The next big piece of information is about the Z06 and about the fact that 96 captured test fleet vehicles have been built. So what that means is basically the car, there's a lot of them running around out there right now. There's 96, and this is how they break down. So we have a couple different categories here covering all of the options that are available for the Z06. So basically everything out there is getting tested. Vette Father says he has to cut out in a little bit. He has a Bolt EUV test drive coming to the dealership soon. Vette Father, I always appreciate you tuning in, man. I know you're busy. I know you're a busy guy, and I appreciate the support. Shane says that there is 69 thumbs ups right now, guys. We have 150 people watching. If you could please hit that thumbs up, it really helps the channel, and it's free. It will make me happy. So this is what the Z06s that are out there right now look like, guys. Only 5% of them are 1LZs, 22% are 2LZs, and 73% are 3LZs. That's pretty surprising, actually. I would have guessed the majority would be 2LZs.
Yeah, they want the wow factor.
They're getting it. They're definitely getting it. The 70th anniversary, there's been 10 made so far, 6 white pearl, 4 carbon flash metallics. I still believe one of those carbon flash metallics and 1 white pearl is going to 2 specific, I'll put in quotes, customers, because one of the carbon flash metallics is likely to be Rick Hendricks, and the white pearl is likely to be the winner of the Indy 500. So the seats in these Z06s right now, GT1 is only 6%, the GT2 seat is 65%, and the competition is 29%. That's pretty much where I would expect it to be. The GT2 seat, in my experience, is the most popular seat because it looks really good, but it's not necessarily the performance grippy one.
But how many of these people are to the track? You know what I mean? So you kind of want somewhere between a good looking seat and performance as well. So I think that's a good number.
Yep. And that's exactly where the GT2 sits. Is it looks like the competition seat, but it feels more like the GT1 seat.
Yeah.
Vet Sweet Nos says they're not VIN number 0001, so it's not Rick's. Do we know the VIN numbers of all 10 70th anniversary Z06s? Because as far as I know, since they're not experimental VINs anymore, there's not. It could be a VIN like that. Carbon fiber mirror caps are unavailable for ordering, but I currently have an adhesive carbon fiber mirror caps that stick on my mirrors. Would I be able to use those for the Z06? Yes. So Future Sean, the mirror cap is exactly the same on the Z06 as it was on the base C8. Vet Father says that his rear end hurts every time he sits in the competition seat. That's surprising because I had the competition seats in my C8 and I really did like them. I drove all the way from Pennsylvania down to the Keys and back, and I didn't have any issues with the competition seats. General Lee says Z07 package all the way, no track for me. Yeah, I think that's going to be the majority, although we did a poll last time we were on here, and a lot of people were planning on tracking the Z06. I was surprised. It was almost 70%. Yeah, really. Yep. So Vet Father's asking, really, I'm assuming about the competition seats. And yeah, all the way to the keys and back, it was about 3,200 miles, I believe, all in. And me and my wife both drove down, and it was no issue.
I'm surprised when I sat in at the display. I couldn't stand them. The bolsters are way too high.
Yeah, I don't. It's such a preference thing because I heard one other YouTube channel say that if you were over, I think he said 220 pounds, if you weighed more than that you were not going to fit in the competition seat. And that is a downright lie. There is zero fact behind that one. But I'm over 220 and I fit in the competition seats just fine, and I love them. So it's not necessarily a size thing. It's a preference thing. You either like the seat or you don't. I personally really liked it, but at the same time, I don't know that I would necessarily get them again. And it's not a comfort factor for me. It's more of, because of how high they're bolstered, it's just a matter of time before they're worn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Vet Sweet, Nos, I know Hendrick's car will be brand new. But the problem is that regardless of what that other YouTube channel wants to tell you, we don't know for a fact that all 10 of these 70th anniversary Z06s are in fact just captured test fleet vehicles. And honestly, just because we know of 10 doesn't mean that there's not actually 12. No one's going to give that information up to anybody. So these are just the ones we know of. Now, with all that said, this is a good bit of knowledge here. We have almost 100 captured test fleet vehicles at this point, and that's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. I like that a lot. But at the same time, who knows how many are actually out there? Sure, 96 of them have been discovered, and we have the builds for them, but how do you know that there's not 120 sitting around? Or, that's the thing about all of this, is that nobody knows. But anyway, guys, we're going to move on past this. It is a good bit of information, and it's awesome that we have 96 of these things out in the public. That just means that car is that much closer to being in your driveway. But the big one for today, guys, is the Z06 Order Guide. It is now available, and this means pretty much all of the options out there are to be seen. So there's only a few options that have still yet to be priced or yet to be shown on the visualizer and stuff. I know one of them is the carbon fiber engine cover. I don't believe that has been priced out yet, but I'm thinking it's going to be right around either $1,000 or $1,500. But it is a pretty big chunk of carbon fiber. So does anybody know, has that come out official price yet? I haven't seen it. I just want to make sure I didn't miss it. Yeah, so Merc Vette says that one thing he noticed about the GT2 seats is that if it's anything but black, the whole pattern makes the seat look dirty. And that is true. I saw my very first review on a C8 Corvette was the orange one with a white interior, and the holes do make the white especially look black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
why
future Sean.
The Sky,
was that, Jason?
As much as I love it, center part is sky cool gray. It just looks dirty all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I would pretty much never choose a different color interior anyway. I'm definitely a fan of a black interior.
Yeah.
Phil asks, what about the brace? I'm pretty sure that has not been priced for the Z06 yet either. Yeah, Future Sean confirms that. So me and Future Sean, we talk a lot behind the scenes on Instagram, and him and I are constantly talking about this car because we're both pretty much as crazy as the other one is about this thing. And I'm waiting for pricing on those two things specifically. I'm sure if we talk long enough, I'm going to remember a couple other things, but there's at least two things that have not been priced yet. And I'm not really sure why. It's kind of odd that we would have the pricing overall, but not of certain options. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. 11-second Eclipse says the same thing I was thinking. It's weird that the visualizer doesn't let you build with pricing yet, especially since we're 3 days away from being able to put in the order. And like I said earlier, though, guys, that order is just going to basically go onto a salesman's desk. That's not actually going to GM yet. Based on what I read, it sounds like those orders will not actually go to GM until the end of August. Interesting. Okay, General Lee says the brace and the other wing will not be available for the first run, but you can order them. Are you referring to the lip wing? The ducktail or... Vet Father says the ordering is going to be on the GM's ordering website, but the caveat is going to be that the dealerships actually get an allocation. Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing, is that when you go to your dealership on the 28th and put in your order, there's no guarantee that you're going to get that order anytime soon, because it's totally dependent on whether or not that dealership gets an allocation. Future Sean says X-Brace, carbon fiber engine cover, and carbon fiber mirror caps will not be available to order. So that kind of sounds like there might be a carbon fiber shortage of some kind there. Any thoughts on whether X-Brace is functional or mainly for show? I think from the very beginning, I felt that is a show piece. I highly doubt that it actually provides any kind of stability or anything like that. It's too thin, I think, and from what I can tell. Unless it's got some substantial thickness to the bottom side of it, I don't think it would be for actual performance. Learning fast, that is probably one of the best questions today. And that is, how many Z06s do you think will be made for the first model year? I am going to say we are looking at less than 5,000. Yep, Red Stingray Corvette says the Z06 is coming to Michigan on Wednesday and he can't wait to see it. I bet you're going to love it.
Impressive.
Okay, the duck bill will not be available either. Okay. That's what I was thinking. Vet Father says the X-Brace is functional. So it does provide some sort of rigidity to the suspension and stuff. That's surprising. I did not think that'd be the case. But anyway, guys, on the Z06 ordering guide here, you can, of course, go to the midenginecorvetteforum.com. You can literally go through every single option here, and it will tell you whether or not it's standard, optional, or not available at all in a 123LZ or a convertible setup. So you can basically go through here and literally build out your car, select all the options in the appropriate manner. Aside from the carbon fiber engine cover, the carbon fiber engine brace, and the carbon fiber mirror caps, or if you want the duckbill spoiler, if you don't need any one of those four things, you can option your car completely out and have a real good idea of what it's going to look like when it's built, how much it's going to cost, minus the gas guzzler fee and taxes, of course, unless you want to add those up for your own local area. But at the end of the day, guys, I built a car for myself not too long ago, and I am sitting pretty at $165,000. So the Z06 is not going to be cheap. It is not going to be a cheap car.
No.
Ralph Cruz just sent you a Venmo.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to check for that. Okay, so guys, number 2 super chat of the day comes to us from Ralph Cruz. You guys know Ralph is a huge supporter of the channel. I don't think he sent any message there. Let me check. No, so Ralph Cruz donates a lot to the channel, and I appreciate it, Ralph. Thank you so much. Steve Robertson also sent another super chat or Venmo through as well. So 2 very, very big supporters of the channel, guys. Give Ralph Cruz and Steve Robertson a huge round of applause. They are some of the channel's biggest supporters. I haven't seen Larry in here yet, but he is also one of the big channel supporters. And General Lee, I've seen he's been in here. Obviously, he's a big supporter. You guys, I can't thank you enough. You seriously help maintain the channel's ability to keep running. So thank you so much. General Lee actually comes in at $146,810 for his build. is that I'm assuming that's probably a 2LZ then, General? And Z07 package. Honestly, my build was pretty much everything I wanted, minus the engine cover that we don't have a price for yet. And of course, minus that gas guzzler fee that we don't know the exact price of yet.
Hey, Easy Hick, I guess that's his name, talked about dealer markups. Anybody heard anything? Well, I can tell you personally, I've been to 3 dealerships when I was just talking about my regular C8, and every dealer is 50,000 over. They're literally put you on a list about 50 grand.
Wow.
So good luck. I think that's pretty much. And there's some dealerships that are saying the 50,000 goes to your charity. I think they're trying to combat something we're going to talk about later.
Yeah. I have some personal experience with the dealerships that do the charity thing instead of just charging over MSRP because of the fear of what GM's going to do to them.
You know, if you have your own business and you find a way you can write your Z06 off, a $50,000 donation isn't such a bad thing, because it really helps bring down your taxes and goes to a good cause. But if you're just a person buying the car for fun, that's a lot of money.
Yep, that's unfortunate, but it's true. Guys, I have a question over in the comment section from Arthur. Asks if Grandpa Barney is on, because he's another one of the big supporters of the channel, and I have not seen him on tonight. Hopefully he does get on, though, because he's definitely one that I know is super excited for the Z06 as well. But we're going to move on to the next piece of information here, guys, and that is the fact that the ERay and the Z06 are both over at the Nurburgring right now. Now, a lot of people have seen the pictures of this particular car that you're seeing on the screen right now, and that is an ERay. That is not a Z06. So the Z06 is there, but it hasn't been pictured as much as the ERay has. So GM has, I think it was Industry Days is what they're over there for, and that ends on the 8th of August, I believe it said. That means GM's there with the ERay and the Z06, and they have until the 8th of August to get the numbers that they need and get back over here and report them back to us. Now, me and Future Sean, like I said, we talk a lot behind the scenes, and I've told him the same thing I'll tell you guys. There's only one reason why we would not get a Z06 number, and it's not a good reason. If GM's over there and they're not able to hit the number they want to hit, we're not going to get a number, because there's no way that GM's going to come back here and say, oh yeah, the car's actually 7 minutes and 15 seconds, because that's unfortunately slower than the C7 Z06. That's slower than the Camaro ZL1 1LE. They're not going to tell us that. I mean, I wouldn't. So I'm imagining GM wouldn't either, because how are they going to charge 106,000 plus for a car that's slower than a car you can get for 70? Now, with that said, I don't believe that that's going to be the case. I do think we're going to get a number. At least I hope we are. But we have until the 8th, I believe, is the end of Industry Days. And that's when they're going to be testing these cars really hard over there to get us a number. So what do you guys think of that? Now, this is a video here. You guys can check that out if you'd like to later, but it's just the ERay on the track, making some pretty cool noises. It sounds obviously very much like a base C8 Corvette, because that's the engine it has in it. But it does look pretty quick on the track. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And the fact that that car's even on the track tells me that GM is not designing the car just to be an in-between stoplights kind of car. It is still going to have some track focus to it, even though the Z06 is really the track focused king. But that's pretty cool. I like the thought of that.
I can't wait. I'm super excited about the ERay. I never thought I'd be excited about a hybrid, but I'm very excited. And I like the fact that it still has more styling cues from the Z06 than the C8, which, I mean, I like well, but I like the fact that it takes a lot of the styling cues from the Z06.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really does. I mean, you could see very clearly in that photo there, it's a wide body with the updated side intakes. The front end is opened up like it is on the Z06. It's basically the Z06 without the Z06 power plant. And as long as it remains that way, I like the idea. I think that's pretty cool because it's exactly what the Grand Sport was. And the ERay is supposed to be replacing the Grand Sport. So I think that that's exactly what we're going to get. And I'm good with that too.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that it does look though, and I could be wrong, but when I was looking at some of the photos, it does look like the air intake is a little bit different than the boomerang of the Z06. And it could just be because it's covered up, but it looked like it was shaped just slightly different.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really tell, to be honest with you, because the car is still, this one is still in wrap. And of course, whenever they use that particular style wrap for a reason, it's because it really hides body lines and stuff like that. So it's hard to say.
Right.
Vette says that he wishes one of the photographers at the ring could get their iPhone out and do a lap timer and give us a teaser. That was actually done last time they were at the ring with the Z06. And the guy who did it noted that the Z06 was under 7 minutes. The Z07 package car was over 7 minutes. Now, it's not super scientific, but we do have some sort of teaser like that out there already. Future Sean asks if anyone here can explain how the build configurator hasn't been launched yet. If you can technically order the car on Friday, how have they not prepared the build configurator? So, Sean, I was saying earlier, basically, you're going to go to the dealership. They're going to let you select your options, but that is not really going anywhere just yet. So what that means is it's going to basically sit on a computer until some allocations are actually available. And at that point, I think, is when we'll get the actual build configurator. I think GM is kind of almost behind on this stuff, it seems like. So they're wanting to get the orders in so they have them in hand to kind of satisfy the customer. But I don't think that they're actually ready to accept any of these orders yet. Learning Fast asks, are the Stingray resale values declining yet? The answer to that is no. And they're probably not going to. So based on what's happening in the world right now, you got your Z06 coming that some people are maybe unloading their base Stingrays for. But at the end of the day, if you can't get a Z06, most people are going to just stick with their C8 or go get a C8 instead. And if they do that, that's just pushing the price back up. So I don't see the price of the C8, the Z06, or even the C7s, honestly. I don't see the price of any of them going down anytime soon because the demand is so freaking high for all of these cars. It's going to just keep going up.
In my personal opinion, when the Z06 really starts in production, I think it's going to be so hard to get that people are just going to give up and get a regular Stingray. I don't think we even realize how tough this car is going to actually be to get.
Yep. And it's funny because I don't know if he's still on here, but Mike Matarazzo told me in the very, 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 very beginning, before anybody was even talking about this car, he flat out said to me, you do not know how hard this car is going to be to get. And I took him at his word and I said, yeah, I know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. No, it's going to be tough. Like very, very tough. Like I said, for the first year, I would be willing to bet they don't make 5,000 of these cars. And that's tough by itself. But those 5,000 are also pulling from the 20 to 25,000 C8s that they're making. So it's reducing that number down even further as well.
Wait till they get the ERay in the mix, and then you got ERays, you have the Stingray, the Z06.
Yep. Yeah, I'm hoping that this whole market thing breaks here pretty soon, but as much as I hope that, I also know it's not coming anytime soon. So Shane says he has currently moved up one more spot on Sioka's list and he's now sitting at 997. The sad part is that's not actually that high. I mean, it's high, but it's better than most people. So
yeah.
Future Sean says they're going to feed the biggest dealerships. Yes and no. They're going to give the biggest dealerships the most allocations, and that's only because those are also the dealerships that sold the most C8s. So it only makes sense to do it that way. 11-second Eclipse asks, how many years do you think that they will make the Z06? I think the Z06 will be made from here out until the end of the run of the C8. So if that goes until 2030, then you're talking about 6-7 more years.
I think C8 is going to be around for quite a while.
The C8 is going to run until at least 2030, if I had to guess. Or, yeah, like Shane said, 2032 maybe. It's going to run longer than the C7 did because it's a brand new platform.
Yep.
Switch Lane says, I think full year production is 8,000 Z06s. But since we missed a few months, 5,000 seems reasonable. It's actually, from what I heard originally, it was supposed to be 15,000. And we've missed a lot of months. And with the current delay in manufacturing and production and everything, I think 5,000 might actually be a little generous. So guys, we have 221 people watching and we don't have 221 thumbs up. So if you could please hit that thumbs up button, let me know you're liking the content. I'm watching my phone here for any future Venmo or super chats, just to call you guys out as they come in, because I do want the entire chat here to know whenever something like that does happen. But just so you know, I am watching for them here. If you could hit the thumbs up button. MSRP will never go down. It's only going to go up, says Stephen V. And that is pretty much the case. I have not seen anything that would tell me contrary at this point. Drip King says, my guess is 35 to 45% of people on the Z06 list will fall off after the price shock. So yeah, probably 5,000 builds minimum.
Yep, I agree.
Learning Fast says the C8 will go out in 2026 because of an all-electric C9 will replace it. I don't think that that's the case. I think actually we're going to see an all-electric C8 towards the end of the model run. I don't think any of those models are necessarily going to replace the previous models. It's just going to be in addition to at first. The C9 lineup will likely, if not all electric, pretty freaking close. 11-second Eclipse says, I'm worried they may not offer the Z06 with that motor for the entire run and they will push more hybrid ERay. I don't think they'll ever change the engine in the Z06 once it's established as that flat plane crank. But I do see them pushing the ERay more than the Z06 for two reasons. Number one is obviously EPA related stuff. Number two, it's going to be harder to secure and get that engine ready to go into the Z06 than it is for the base C8 6.2 liter engine. Shane says we got 150 thumbs up currently. Guys, we got 220 people watching. So if you could hit that thumbs up button, it really helps the channel. Ralph Cruz says he's wondering how many will not get a Z07 package since the price is $10,000 to $15,000 higher. Could be a good survey. That sounds pretty good to me, Ralph. Let me go ahead and type it in here. Z06 or Z07 package. Let me know what you guys are thinking here. I'm going to go ahead and put that up as a poll right now. Let me know if you are getting a car, a Z06, will you be getting the Z07 package or are you sticking with just the base Z06?
Can we use this as an imaginary since I'm not going to get this, but if I was going to get the Z06?
Yeah. So let's be honest. A lot of the people who think they're getting a Z06 aren't really getting one either. So let's just say if you were to go get a car tomorrow, if the ability to get one wasn't so insanely difficult and money wasn't an issue, are you getting Z06 or Z07? Yeah, so Stephen V, that's a great point. Just like the base C8 Corvette, he says, how many Z06s are actually going to be $106,000? Just like the base C8, how many of those actually sold at $59,995?
Yeah,
not many, because GM, I don't know about the Z06, but GM on the base C8 loses money if you don't select at least a 2LT or a Z51 package or something. Sorry, Shane.
Look at switch lanes. He's at least he's being honest.
I'm definitely getting a Stingray because the announced Z06 price removed my uncertainty, cemented that decision. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is there's no point in trying to fool yourself. I mean, either you're high enough on the list that you can get the car or you're not. And I mean, honestly,
You're not getting it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
You should have already.
I agree. So Stupid Fast Truck asks a pretty important question. Now, if you guys are familiar with the C7 Corvette, the Grand Sport option gave you a Stingray engine, a Z06 looking body and suspension, and it did offer a Z07 package to the Grand Sport. Now, with that said, the ERay supposedly is replacing the Grand Sport, so will the ERay get a Z07 package? That's a great question, and if I had to guess, I think it will. But based on the fact that the ERay is over at the Nurburgring as we speak, tells me that it is going to be track focused enough that it could benefit from having a Z07 package. So I think it will.
I agree with TG Chris on one part. He says, if you don't track it often, you don't need the Z07. That's true. But my question is, do you need 600 plus horsepower?
Right.
I mean,
you don't.
No. I like it because I like the way it looks. You know, the high wing and all that, which is why, you know, add that to mine. It's nice to have the carbon ceramic brakes and from what I hear from you, the suspension makes a big difference. I've never had a Z07 car, so I can't speak from, you know, personal experience, but
it definitely does. So the Z07 package, to me, there's a lot of reasons I would get the Z07 package outside of just the fact that it is more track focused. You can get the carbon ceramic rotors on the Z06 without the Z07 package now, but there was a time with the C7 that was not the case. You had to have Z07 to get it. I think the difference in suspension, I actually prefer the stiffer ride of the Z07 on the C7 lineup at least, even for street driving. I like the feel of a sports car more so than a softer suspension for the street.
Grandpa Barney in the house.
Grandpa Barney is here. All right. Thanks for tuning in.
I know Vette, I'm not sure if that's how he says it. I know he tracks his quite a bit. He does track his Grand Sport a lot.
Yeah, Grand Sport is one of the better track cars, it looks like. So, Grandpa Barney, guys, literally shows up for a second here and he's already donated to the channel. So he has sent a Venmo over to the channel as well. Again, great supporter of the channel. All of the Venmo or super chats will go right back into the channel to make sure this content and the setup is always as good as possible for you guys.
I know they were talking about it earlier, Justin. I think it's safe to say that the Zora or ZR1 is going to be electric. They're just going to go full electric on it. I don't think we're going to have to wait to the C9 to get a full electric car.
Yeah, I agree. I do believe the Zora model is likely to be a full electric competitor for the Plaid.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to beat the Plaid.
Yeah.
And it will.
I think it will too. Yeah, Grandpa Barney says, "Where's my car at?" Yeah, man, we all have that same question. I did see, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it here, but I saw the red where was it? There it is. Red Stingray Corvette. He says he can't even get a Stingray, let alone a Z06. So, I think a lot of us are in that position right now. A lot of us want a C8 in some capacity, and we're not really able to get it in the way that we want. So,
hey, Justin, can you go live instead of having this photo?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been looking at this photo for a long time.
All right, guys. So we're all still here. We are here, and Grandpa Barney was the last one for a super chat, and up until just now, Larry Taylor donates a super chat as well, saying that they basically 100% agree. And then we get another one from the guests with no message attached. But thank you guys. The super chats go right back into the channel here, and I appreciate any support you guys are willing to give. Switch Lane says, has anyone confirmed if the C8 has provisions as an Altium skateboard chassis. That Altium name has been tossed around quite a bit for the ERay and possibly the Zora. So I think as if we're on the same page, I believe so. Yes. So guys, Shane says we're at 171 thumbs ups. We're at 250 people watching. So we're still a little bit skewed. If you guys could, please hit that thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking the content so we can keep doing this stuff for you. It's a great help. I'd really appreciate it. Wheeler O'Hara says we don't need the lap time, just need that American Ferrari revving of the engine. There you go. So absolutely, but honestly, Wheeler, with the price that they're charging on the Z06, I think we do need the price or the lap times. I think that is really going to help solidify this car as a competitor at $106,000. Grandpa Barney says, for the electric cars, you got to fart in your seat so you have an engine noise.
Funny.
So Ever Jeff says the Nurburgring time, if they announce it, won't change my mind on getting one or getting the Z06, but it sure would be nice to see a time. So it's funny you mentioned that, Ever Jeff, because I've been talking a lot to future Sean, and he plans on tracking the car. So that number means a lot to him. Is the car going to do what it says it's going to do on the track, or is it not? And that's big for people who plan on using this car on the track, because it obviously matters. But to some people that aren't going to track it, it doesn't matter. So I think at the end of the day, GM really needs to give us the number, whether it's going to change your mind or not. Mark Surge says, Justin, how long do you think the C8 line will last? I'm afraid with how young I am, I won't get a shot at to order a C8 in time. I believe that the C8 platform will last until 2030 at the very least, probably more like 2032-ish. It is a total redesign of the chassis and everything, so I think this generation will last longer than the C7 Corvette generation did, but it's to be determined.
Demand for it, and people can't get it. So why would they worry about that right now?
That's true. Grandpa Barney says, so we can go online and do a build now. You kind of can. You can build on the visualizer, but you can't officially do anything until the 28th of July here. And even then, you're only putting an order in to basically limbo. The order is not actually getting accepted, or nothing is getting done with it until near the end of August, from what I've heard. Okay, so Robert Smith actually brings up our next piece of information here. We, as you know, Z06 and C8 Corvette enthusiasts, we want to know, how do we get this car without flippers affecting it? Now, for those of you who haven't seen this yet, there is actually an offer from GM that's hoping to help stop the flippers with the Z06. Now, what's happening here, I'm going to flip the camera around here to the web browser, is GM is offering Z06 buyers $5,000 in rewards points for not flipping their Corvettes. What that means for you is that if you buy a Z06 and you keep it for at least a year, you're going to get 5,000 GM reward points. Now, my only concern with this is, and there's a couple actually, there's not a whole lot of people that are going to say, oh, okay, if I keep it for a year, I'm going to get $5,000. Or if I sell it right now, I'm going to get $100,000. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of people that are going to accept that.
5,000 is nothing. Check out your Venmo. Dr. Corvette said he sent some money. $100.
So he did. So guys, Dr. Corvette, huge supporter of the channel. Thank you so much. Donated $100 to Venmo, and we also got 2 super chats in here. So Randall Swanson, and then the guest says, all electric isn't bad, it's just different. My Porsche Taycan is as enjoyable to drive as my C8. I do love the engine noise, but not the end-all be-all. Different strokes for different folks. 100%. 100% correct. And that's the thing. Either you're okay with the electric revolution, or you're not. Or sometimes you're in between. That's where I'm at. I'm in the middle. I love the idea of what the electric cars can provide. I just don't like the idea of losing the gas-powered engine noise stuff. So I want it to be somewhere in between. I don't want it to be a hard line where you have to choose yes or no. I want to be in between.
See, I keep saying I wouldn't mind having an electric truck for work, but that's it.
Yeah.
ERay's the best. ERay's the middle ground.
Yeah.
100%. And I know GM seems to know that, because that's why they're sticking with, at least for now, with a hybrid versus a full electric. Now, real quick, I want to address something that GM or General Lee just said. He said you have to use GM's financing to qualify. That is not 100% true. So if you're using GM's financing, which is GM Financial, you can use this $5,000 to apply to your loan balance. If you don't use GM Financial, you can still get these rewards points to use for other things that GM offers, like floor mats and accessories for the car. But this is why I said it's kind of not, it's a step in the right direction, but it's a small step and it's not going to really change anything.
Nobody that wants to flip this car, even 10,000 wouldn't do it.
Right. It would have to be like 50 grand, and it would have to be in something that makes sense, because $5,000 is not something that most people spend on GM accessories. So most people that are not financing the car through GM Financial aren't going to be able to use that $5,000 for anything but GM accessories. And I mean, you can only buy so many floor mats.
Future Sean's right.
Honestly, I think GM knows what they have. They know it's a sub 7-minute car. They are very confident about that price point. I really, really hope you're right, Future Sean. And I do tend to agree myself, but there's always that nagging part of my brain that's like, I don't know, if they knew that, they would have already said it. But I hope, I got my fingers crossed, trust me, because I don't want this thing to come in above 7 minutes either.
Jason Billingsley brought something up in the chat a little bit ago about a GM offering 8 to 10 years perhaps on financing, like Lamborghini does 12 years.
Yeah.
So with the price of this being so high, I feel like, probably 8, maybe 10, but 8 years would be a good, I don't know. What do they go for normally? 6 years? I don't know.
7 years, usually 8 is the max. Okay. They've only recently started really offering 8 on regular cars.
Right. Well, on one this expensive, I could see 10 being realistic.
Yeah, it definitely could be. I mean, at the end of the day, what really separates the difference between at this situation, we'll say a Lamborghini Huracan and a Corvette Z06? Why would you be able to finance for 10 plus years on the Huracan, but not the Z06?
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's just the same, no difference on the housing market. I've heard rumors that they're trying to go to 50-year mortgages, 30, because it's getting too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, guys, I want to touch on this last subject real quick, and then we are going to jump over to something that Wheeler O'Hara has sent to me, because it's actually a pretty cool piece of information that kind of ties into what we were just talking about with the Z06 and the Lamborghini Huracan kind of being a very similar style car. But before we do, I want to mention one more time, guys, this is GM's attempt at making flippers kind of think twice about their process. They're offering $5,000 in rewards points if you keep the Z06 for at least a year. Now, like I said, this is a step in the right direction. It is a very small step, but at least GM is doing something. I mean, up until this point, they really haven't done anything. So the next bit we're going to talk about real quick is something that, like I said, Wheeler O'Hara actually posted on the Mid-Engine Corvette forum, and it is the Dynograph of a couple different high-end supercars. So as you guys can see here, we're looking at, obviously, the graphs of a C8 Corvette Z06, a Huracan Evo, a Huracan Evo with the horsepower and torque, and I guess that's it. So we got the Huracan Evo in every other color here except for yellow on the bottom dyno grid here. And as you can see, this is with, I know a lot of you guys are going to automatically have the question, how do we know what the dyno of the Z06 is going to be? We don't. What we did was he took the numbers, the stock numbers from GM, the 670 horsepower, minus a 15% drivetrain loss, and it still performs higher than a 2022 Huracan Evo does. Now, right off the bat, the reason why this matters at all is because a Huracan Evo is going to cost you $300,000. The Z06, you could have it for as low as 106, assuming you get one without, allocation costs all through the roof. Stephen V says dynographs doesn't mean anything. Every dyno reads differently. That's true, other than the fact that this isn't really even a dyno at this point. This is just an estimation, but it just puts it into perspective that what you're looking at here is a car that can outperform a Lamborghini that costs literally almost 3 times as much. Now, the big thing here... Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Robert Smith just said, what do you think the average flipper is going to make on this? I think $50,000 easily the first few months.
Yeah, I would say the same. It's going to be at least $50,000. Honestly, that might actually be on the low end too, because especially in the beginning, you're probably talking about 100 plus. Now, what we want to talk about mostly on this chart here is, okay, so Wheeler O'Hara actually clarified here, the light blue on this is actually a stage 1 Huracan Evo. So it's actually a modified Huracan. And the Z06 is still outperforming it with considering a 15% drivetrain loss. And that's actually high. I looked it up. The C8 Corvette actually has a 10.6% drivetrain loss. So if the Z06 maintains that same amount, 15% is about 5% too high. So we're actually reading at a lower percentage than what the car will actually put out, and it's still well outperforming the Huracan. Now, Ralph Cruz has a question here that it's definitely going to be a little bit of a, it's going to cause a divide here, but he asks me, he says, Justin, if you had the choice, would you rather have an Evo or a Z06?
I'm gonna be the one that everybody gets annoyed with, but I'm gonna say Evo.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna say Evo as well. Now, I mean, obviously, that's assuming price isn't a problem here, because the Evos are considerable amount more.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking $350,000 versus 106. So my thing with Corvette has always been that it's the affordable supercar. And typically, not only is it the affordable supercar, but it's also the supercar that performs better than supercars at 3 times the price. But at the same time, if price isn't an issue, it would be hard to say no to a Huracan in general, let alone an Evo, because that car has a lot of history. I mean, Lamborghini has had a lot of time to perfect that car, whereas we haven't even seen a Z06 yet. Yeah, so Volden asks, is it true you can't get just the aero package, that you need the Z07 package or carbon ceramic brakes? And yes, from my experience, from what I've seen, you do need a Z07 package to get the full aero kit. Yeah, Wheeler O'Hara says the same thing. Biggest thing for him is price. And that's why this dynograph it hits home pretty well, because again, we're looking at a car that is a third of the cost, outperforming the other car, while also being underrated by about 5% based on 15% drivetrain loss, whenever it's probably actually closer to 10.
And we're talking about, you know what? Let's just carry down to it. It doesn't matter even about the car. There's a nostalgia when it comes to the American-made Corvette. There's people that are buying this car because their dad or their grandfather had them. So doesn't really matter if you've got a Huracan at the price you want. You might be just buying this car because it's been in your family line.
Yep.
I know I am.
So Omid just donated to the Venmo. He says, thanks for the great content, guys. Love supporting your channel. Thank you, Omid. I appreciate it. I'm not sure what your username here is on the chat, but if you want to type in there real quick that was you, we'll make sure to give you an applause. I appreciate all the support tonight, guys. You guys have been great, as usual. Every single time we do one of these live videos, guys, I have more and more fun with the Vette Syndicate people here, all the people in the chat. You guys really make this a good time.
What's up, Great White North Corvette? Hey, he's got a good Instagram channel, by the way.
Yeah, he does. He says he has an appointment on Thursday to place his build on the Z06. Great White, we were just talking about that because even though you will be placing that order on the 28th, it's not actually going to go anywhere until closer to the end of August. So, okay, so Grandpa Barney says he sent another one.
He's always the man.
He really is. I'll tell you what, he never lets me down. Okay, so Grandpa Barney, I only have one from you on Venmo. So anyway, guys, we're going to kind of just leave it up to you at this point as to what we talk about. I think we've gotten through all the information today about the Z06. The big ones today were that the Z06 and the ERay are both at the Nurburgring. GM is doing at least something to help prevent flippers. It's not as big as it needs to be, but at least they're doing something. I'd like to see them do a little bit more, but what are your thoughts? Yeah, Wheeler O'Hara says, thanks, Justin, for bringing this up in the chat to discuss the 06 value to Huracan/R8. You're very welcome. I appreciate your work on that dyno curve. Everything that was done there, that was really awesome.
They could do more for flipping. They could. Justin and I were talking about this earlier. Ice car situation. They have it locked in on. They could lock in. Get good financing for GM and lock this thing in to where they have to sell it back to a dealership if they're going to sell it.
Yeah, you know, I don't like that though either.
But buy a car, it's your car.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it sucks. Talking personally, we talked earlier. I'm stuck right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
and
so
see,
it's like with the dealer.
That's a problem in itself though, because just like Jason said, when you buy the car, it's your car. You can choose to sell, drive it off a cliff, light it on fire, whatever you want to do. That's up to you. It should not be the dealership saying, no, if you sell this thing, you have to sell it back to us, because then that gives them the easy in to say, okay, yeah, you have to sell it to us. Here's 20 grand. You know, they don't have to give you anything extra.
Got you.
So real quick, I wanted to address Omid. Given the Venmo, his name on the chat here is the same. So Omid R right here on the chat. I did get another donation from Grandpa Barney. Guys, you know Grandpa Barney. He's constantly supporting the channel. He did send another super chat over. Let me see if he attached a message. No.
GB.
Yeah. Grandpa Barney, he's you guys are you're all awesome. I appreciate all of you every single time tuning in, talking about Corvettes, because at the end of the day, we're just basically a giant community of Corvette lovers here. What can possibly go wrong? I did see another question I wanted to answer. 11-second Eclipse says the gas guzzler tax is BS. I got that on my SRT Challenger too. Yeah. And I think we looked at my build sheet on my ZR1. I believe the gas guzzler was $2,400, something like that. And I can't imagine that it would be more than that for the flat plane crank, because it's a smaller displacement engine. I think it would be, if anything, a hair lower.
3750 on the TRX.
Yeah, it was 3750 on my TRX, which makes a lot of sense because that thing does not like sipping gas, that's for sure. VT16 Turbo says, what's up, guys? Sorry for the tardiness. I saw the poll. Z07 package, huh? Is that many people tracking it? Yeah, so I'm actually pretty impressed with the voting on this because we're almost 50-50. We have 150 votes, which means, you know, it's pretty close to 75-75, but 53% are saying Z07 package. But for the most part, that's pretty close to 50-50.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and end that poll, guys. It looks like Z07 package is not necessarily a clear winner here. It's 53% say Z07, but it's still not blowing anything out. That's for sure. The guest donates the next super chat of the day here, and he says, do you have any pictures of hypersonic gray with a stealth wrap? The guest, send me an email if you can. I'm going to put my email in the chat here because I don't want to tell you no, but I don't think I do off the top of my head, but I'll get you one.
That would look good.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. Love
That's a very
stealth
color in my.
Yeah. I think it would look pretty cool stealth wrapped. Flying Cop Car says, my $2,300 gas guzzler tax on my Shelby GT500 was built into the MSRP. $2,300 probably pretty close. We're I think on the Z06 we're somewhere between $2,000 and $2,400.
Yeah.
Wheeler O'Hara says 52% of people have more money than I do because I'd be there if I could. Nice. Okay, so Omid doing the likes game. I like this. He donates another super chat, and he said that he told himself he'd give another $50 if we could get to 200 likes, and I guess we did. So that's awesome,
Yeah.
Omid. Thank you so much. Let me see where we're at with the likes here. By the time I see it, I'm sure Shane's going to put it up here. So 203. So yeah, very nice, guys. This is an awesome chat tonight. You guys are hitting that thumbs up. Like, it definitely helps the channel, and it does. So
yeah.
Grandpa Barney says that this car is coming with carbon fiber diffusers as an option. Really?
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
I like this question. Who gets the gas tax? Gets all of our taxes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Ralph, it's everyone. It's not any certain state or any certain buyer. If you're getting the car, you're paying that gas tax. Which, honestly, if you look at that gas, I don't know how much I even want to get into this, but the gas tax, it literally means nothing. It does absolutely nothing other than just take more money out of your pocket.
Worse.
VT16 Turbo says that he was the 200 thumbs up. Thank you.
Good job. 211.
Sweet. All right, guys, I'm going to flip back over to the webcam here so you guys can see all of our beautiful faces. The guess. Oh, I knew if I said that it was going to go that route. Yeah, so guys, like I said, I'm going to recap real quick here. We talked a little bit about the Z06 style wing for the base C8 Corvette, which is pretty cool. If you guys aren't going to get a Z06, but you kind of want your car to look like one, I know, Steve, you going to do it?
I don't know. You cut out when you were asking that.
Are you going to get the Z06 wing for your C8?
100%. We're doing a series. We're going to call it Project Z06. I'm going to literally take my Stingray as far as I possibly can to look like the Z06.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm definitely getting it as well. No question.
Nice.
Phenomenal. And then it worked out perfect because I ordered my C8 without a wing. So no holes.
I did.
Very
Unfortunately,
nice.
But it's okay.
Yeah, 11-second eclipse kind of says, huh?
You can put Bondo on there. Bondo covers everything.
Well, don't they come with something that covers the extra holes?
They say.
Yeah, they do.
Okay,
But
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
11-second clip says kind of the same thing that I thought. He says, I pay taxes every time I buy gas. It's my choice to get bad gas mileage, and they get more tax every fill up. Extra tax is a money grab.
Yep.
Can't say I disagree. Unfortunately, that's about right. But anyway, guys, like I said, Z06 style wing for the C8. Both of these guys are getting it. So they're both going to have a C8 here soon with a Z06 style wing. Looking forward to the videos because I know Steve has a C7 Stingray right now that he has made look like a C7 Z06. And it's been a pretty cool experience to go along and, you know, follow the build as he's gone from a base Stingray to what looks like a Z06. And this will be just the same with the C8. Be pretty cool. Also, we have 96 documented captured test fleet Z06 vehicles available right now. They're out there in the wild, running around, testing, and they're doing all this for you guys, and for me too, I guess. Real quick, though, we got another super chat from Arashi Dark Knight. He says, ERay should be $83,000 for the base model. I think we're going to have a base model price of the ERay between $79,000 and $89,000 before options. That's just my opinion. I'm not sure if that's where it will be or not, but it seems like GM's going to want to price it in between a C8 and a Z06, so that makes sense. Anyway, we also talked a little bit about the Z06 ordering guide. You can check it out for yourself on the midenginecorvetteforum.com. It will go through all of the available options, what's standard on your 1, 2, 3LZ or your coupe or convertible. It's all available right online. We also talked about the fact that the ERay and the Z06 are both currently over at the Nurburgring, getting some times for us. And GM has industry days over there that lasts until, I believe, the 8th of August. So they have until then to get us a number. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get some numbers because I think for as much as the car costs, we deserve to know if it's going to be under 7 minutes around that Nurburgring. We also talked a little bit about the dyno curve of the Z06 and how it compares to a Huracan Evo, a car that's literally 3 times as much money. And it is pretty impressive. It outperforms throughout the entire power band. So very cool stuff, guys. What?
I filled in the word for Grandpa Barney.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
They demonetize them anyways. I don't care.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So the only thing really left to discuss is a little bit of the Vette Syndicate stuff. Steve, Jason, you want to take that away?
You want to
We
start?
are almost out of shirts.
Yeah, we got 50. We sold 37 in one day. We're down to 9. And for everybody that's in the chat, please subscribe to Vette Syndicate, but send us photos. We love posting your cars and videos. I got 3 right now I got to get back to as soon as I get to. People are actually liking to do that, so that'd be good to actually get on there and support us. Good. Vette Syndicate's you.
Guys, one last thing I want to mention real quick is next week we're going to get back into this, but for this upcoming week, the giveaway is going to be specifically for a C7 Corvette. So if you have C7 Corvette pictures, send them to me, and I have the weekly giveaway will be a carbon fiber push button stop-start button. These are legit carbon fiber. This one's red. I also have one in the typical black or gray carbon fiber that will match your actual dashboard if you have one. So if you have a C7, send me horsepowerobsessed@gmail.com. Send me your pictures. And all 3 of us here are going to choose the picture we like the most, and you will win one of these. Like I said, if you look at the back here, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it or not. It is real carbon fiber through and through. Actual carbon fiber. This is not just like some gimmicky thing. It's a real carbon fiber piece. So C7 Corvettes next week, guys. The week following is going to be C8 Corvettes, and it's going to be a very big giveaway item. I actually might announce it next week because it's going to be more than 1 week's worth of stuff to get entered for it.
Cool.
But
Good night.
the guest says, is there an email for Vette Syndicate?
Yeah, vettesyndicate@gmail.com. All one word, Vette Syndicate.
In the description down below, you also have the link directly to the Instagram account. So
Just
go
DM
there.
us your.
yeah, you can directly send us messages right on Instagram, and we'll get the. I think we're gonna do it twofold here. So if you guys send me the email or you send the car on the Vette Syndicate Instagram, either way, we're gonna include all of them for next week's C7 Corvette giveaway. So like I said, if you send a picture of your C8, it's not going to be included. It's only C7s for this upcoming week. The week after that will be C8s. But
awesome.
But if you send a C8s, we'll post you on Instagram.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Cool.
Okay.
Good night.
All right, guys. I think that's it. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.